Hey everybody, welcome to Castor'sCorner.com. I'm your host Khalil, here for another live toy of the day, and we're wrapping up our look at the Bad Guys Way from the Marvel Legends line on the eve of a all-new Fan First Thursday for the Marvel Legends team. So just as I finish up on the newest stuff they have out, they're going to announce more stuff. You can go to Castor'sCorner.com for a full gallery of these. And you can check out the archive of our past toy of the days there, as well as all the galleries that we have. You can head over to our social media channels. We are at Castor's Corner on everything, including this channel, which you're on. You can hit the subscribe button. It's down at the bottom of the screen, either here or here. I can never tell. The more of you that subscribe, the more cool things we get to do, and then we get to share them with you. And check out the Korner podcast this week with our friend Toyshiz. Last week with MCU Collector, MJ from Total Toy Recon, Vincent from Vasco Toys, Lacey Gillerin, and I'm blanking before that. So, I don't know. My memory's going. But we got a lot of fun stuff going on. We got a bunch of podcasts recording this weekend and all that. But you are here for the toy of the day, which is taking a look at the last two figures in the Bad Guys wave. I keep wanting to say bring on the bad guys because that was, I think, what they called the wave in Toy Biz Marvel Legends, which was wave 13, which came out right at the same time as the Walmart wave. And I remember getting the whole Walmart wave, living room being littered with boxes, and then Bill dropping off wave 13, which was amazing. It was supposed to have henchmen in it, but it just didn't happen. It didn't cost out. So we're talking about these two guys. And I lost Arcade's Kane. Because, I drop stuff all the time. There it is. And this is what happens when you do a live video. You drop stuff, and then you have to try to find it in dark underneath the desk. Here we go. Nice little Kane. And it's kind of ironic because the last time they did a Bad Guys wave, she was in it. But we'll start with Arcade. So Arcade is a rather goofy character, if you think about it. He is basically Toyman from Superman in the Marvel world for the X-Men. He's super smart, likes to make fun things, think about games and things like that. For the X-Men to kind of have to deal with. And he comes with his little cane here, big cane, long cane, whatever you want to call it. So there you go. And they come with two looks. So he's got the classic kind of comb over, very 80s tie. Looks like something out of Happy Days look here. And then you've got the little more of a maniacal, and I'm going to put the cane away, maniacal look, much more Lex Luthor-ish look, and I'm sure some people are going to use this for a pre-bald Lex Luthor. I mean, even if you take off this big bow tie, which is a separate piece, I believe, or just pop this onto another body, but the white suit and everything, platform shoes, I mean, they really went the mile with this to make this a really cool character. Because, I mean, you think about it. He's in a suit, right? He's in a suit. He's got a bow tie. He looks like Carrot Top. Like, he is not the most dynamic figure yet. This probably is one of the coolest X-Men villains designs that they've done. I'm sorry to say. Between the colors, the likeness of the comic book, the big bow tie, the platform sneakers, it's one of those things where aesthetically it's very pleasing. Now, that being said, soft jacket, softer tie, things like that. So when you are storing this figure, he is going to pick up paint scuffs like no other figure. So I recommend putting him in a bag. Just protect him. I'm definitely going to bag him as soon as we're done with the review. He's been sitting in a box with everybody else. Thankfully, no paint scuffs or anything like that. But I don't think I have another figure readily available to show you his height. But, I mean, he's normal height for a figure. He's not short. The platform shoes really, really make that. And I don't know. I really like it. I think it is one of the cooler things that they've done so far for the X-Men line. And something I never thought I'd see, to be honest with you, for a toy. He definitely comes out of that 90s X-Men card playlist that Ryan loves so much on the Hasbro team. So it's a really nice addition here to the line. So the other figure, the last figure we're going to talk about, is Lady Deathstrike. When she was first part of the Marvel Legends line, I think we were all collectively very disappointed. We had very high hopes. She was part of the X-Men cartoon. She was a villain for Wolverine. She was in X2. I think we all had really, really high hopes for what she was going to turn out to be. And she was a little bit oversized. The arms were a little weird. And she had the weirdest face. They blacked out her eyes. Or they whited out her eyes. And I know they were going for a comic book look, but it just never captured how dynamic she was. And she was just way too bulky for the character that she is. She is a lean, mean fighting machine. I can't believe I said that, but that's okay. So the smaller head, the more petite body, she is taller than Wolverine, so that's good. But she's not overly tall. I will say this, the pinless joints on her, again, I like the aesthetic of the pinless joints, the function of them. I've had some issues with. And so she is a really good example of that where, so the joint here, I know the lighting makes it a little bit hard to see, is pretty small. And after working it for a little bit, it's been fine. But when I first got the figure, there is a very, I don't know if I'll be able to show it to you. Let's see if you can see it. Nope. I got something darker. Let's see if we do this. I want to block your view of it. There is a very small, no, you're not going to be able to see it. So there is a very small bump when her arm is straight. When I first got the figure, that bump impeded the ability to bend her arm. So much so I thought it was going to break the peg off in the bicep. So it took a little bit of like maneuvering to get the joint over that bump and kind of work it so that it would shave down a little bit, basically, from just use. And so once I got that, this joint is nice and tight. It holds its shape. This one was loose to begin with, so that bump is not as pronounced on this one, or the opening for it in the forearm isn't as tight as this one was. So once we got past that, it was fine. But I really was worried that it was going to pop. And it is harder to loosen up the joints and work with the joints with the pinless technology. I understand the aesthetics. I can't wait for a Spider-Man like that. Dwight brought that up either in the interview or the last live stream, that we are going to get a Spider-Man that doesn't have like the opposite colors in the elbow joints, because you need to put a pin in, and you can either have the right color on the outside or the right color on the inside, and they usually opt for the outside look. So I really can't wait for them to do it with Spider-Man. But she is pinless with double knees. She can get into a lot of poses. We did some pictures with her and Wolverine. She just like him, she's perfection. Like, it's one of those cases where the longer this line runs, the closer these look like the comic books have jumped off the page and into my hands. These are 3D representations, 100%. And she's got that waist kind of like, you can dip it side to side, so you can really get some good poses with her. Her whole torso is one piece, so you cannot bend her there. But she does have a little bit of bend there and a little bit of wiggle. She can definitely move around on that joint, which makes for some fun fighting poses for her and Wolverine. So, yeah, I think, they nailed this wave. So you get the A-list with Red Skull and Dormammu. You get the B-list. I consider her B-list. You get B-list with her. You get kind of C or D or H list with Arcade. He's not as well known. She was in the movie. And then you go to Scientist Supreme and you go to the Hood, which for me was a big deal, but not for a lot of other people. And then Zemu, I think a lot of people were scratching their head who he was and how to look him up. But I hope that they do this again. I hope that this is not just kind of a, I hate to say it, I feel like it's one of those cases where I don't know if this wave would have happened without everything kind of the movies being put on hold for a year. I hope I'm wrong. I have no inside information on that, but I hope to see this kind of thing continue where we have theme waves that don't adhere to a specific comic book family. Because this is not all X-Men. I mean, there's a few X-Men characters in here. There's a few kind of Marvel Knights-ish characters. There's a few big hitters. I mean, even Zemu's a Hulk, villain. So, like, you get that whole stretch there. So I think they just did a good job dispersing figures, and just goes to prove that you don't need to have A-lists throughout the whole line. I mean, the Spider-Man Classics, Spider-Man Legends class retro wave was all big hitters. Daredevil, Spider-Man, MJ, and Gwen Stacy, Goblin, Electro, and somebody else. And just seeing that wave was so heavy-handed with big names. And then you get a wave like this where they're not all big names and they're just as satisfying. So I hope that trend continues, and we continue to see it doesn't have to be themed around a character. It can be themed around a theme. Heroes, villains, sidekicks. I'd love a sidekicks wave. Could you imagine? We get Bucky. I guess Johnny Storm would be part of a Fantastic Four wave. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. Maybe that can be a poll question. Like, who would be the sidekicks? Rick Jones, Bucky. Who would be Spider-Man's sidekick? Miles is Spider-Man in his own right, but Flash Thompson, you get a Flash figure. Yeah, I can probably go on and on, but I'm not going to ramble on about that. So go to the website, castorscorner.com, for a full gallery of these guys. You can follow us. We are at Kastor's Corner on all social media. We put up links. Amazon has fixed those. Those are links on our profile that you can order from Amazon. These figures, this entire wave. Follow us. We are at Kastor's Corner. Check out the Cornercast podcast. And remember, hit the subscribe button, whichever side of the screen is actually on. Because the more of you that subscribe, the more cool things we get to do, and then we get to share them with you. And as I say every night, that's one of the best parts of this journey, to be able to have these conversations. And hopefully I'll be able to go back to live and have live chats once YouTube figures out what they're doing with our lives not processing correctly and having to re-upload and they get cut and stuff. So thank you for bearing with us with all that stuff. These are live. They're not edited. As you can see me dropping things and looking for words. So we've got more fun stuff coming. We've got some stuff in the mail. We've got more Legends. We've got Lego. We've got Fortnite. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. I might even bump into another review that I didn't think I was going to do, but might be kind of fun depending on when they show up. So thanks for watching, guys. Have a good night, and we'll see you tomorrow on castorscorner.com. Toy of the day.